Virgil stared out the window of the empty bus as it trudged through the nearly invisible trail inside. His parents had decided to send him to some summer camp for a month, and Camp Spirit Moon, if he remembered correctly. The camp had already been going on for a month now, so everyone would already know each other. He swallowed the tightness in his throat and turned up his earbuds, which were playing Sincerely Me from his Dear Evan Hansen playlist. It had been only treats for the past hour, and he was starting to wonder if the driver was taking him somewhere to kill him and dispose of the body. Seemed legit enough. A little longer down the road, Virgil could make out a sign that read, "Welcome to Camp Moonridge," in big, bold letters that arched over an area big enough for the bus to pass through. Oh yeah, that was it. Moonridge. When the bus stopped from a lodge-looking building, Virgil slowly grabbed his bag and deliberately and carefully left the bus. Waiting for him was a man and a kid. The boy had dirty blonde hair, accompanying bright blue eyes. The man had dark brown hair and eyes. "Hello," the man, most likely the head counselor, chirped. "You must be Virgil." No duh, he thought, and winced at how bubbly the man was. But he managed to keep a smile on his face, not wanting to be rude. "My name is Thomas. I'm the head counselor here. This is Patton, my assistant for today." The boy, Patton, who looked to be around his age, smiled a huge smile and waved before skipping over and hugging the emo child. On most occasions, Virgil did not approve of touching. Heck, he hardly knew this kid. But there was an energy that radiated off Patton, and he couldn't help but hug back. "Come on," Patton exclaimed excitedly and grabbed Virgil's hand. "I'll show you to your cabin." The two boys ran to where the cabins were, or rather, Patton dragged the poor kid, who had no idea what was happening, and just tried to keep up. They came across a fairly sized building with a gold 6 next to the door, and Patton entered, Virgil in tow. There were 4 beds in the large room, and the other door across from which they had just entered. Each bed had a bland peach blanket, along with 3 of them having a different colored one. 3 out of the 4 of them were made. The 2 closest to the door both had blue ones. The bed to the left, the most neat, with a dark blue, the bed to the right, light blue. The bed in the back, to the left, the messy one, had a red blanket, while his companion had no color at all. Pat sat on the bed with the light blue blanket and motioned to the untouched, colorless one. "We're in the same lodge," he smiled. "That's your bed. Do you want some time to get situated? Or do you want to meet our new cabin mates?" Virgil honestly just wanted a little alone time, though he was already becoming accustomed to Patton's presence. "If you could give me some time to situate, that would be great." Patton nodded and hopped out the door and sat on the front steps, waiting for his new companion. Virgil sighed once the door was closed, observing the room once more. He walked to the bland bed and set his black backpack onto it and pulled out his own purple blanket. He threw it on the bed and messed up the sheets, so it looked even worse than that of the red blanket. He smirked at the one-way competition he had just won, and put away his earbuds and changed his shirt, swapping a bulky long sleeve for a pale purple tank top and his favorite sweatshirt tied around his waist. He got up and took a few deep breaths to prepare himself. He never did like meeting new people, before opening the door. Patton was still waiting on the steps, humming to himself. "Hey, I'm ready." Patton turned to his voice and smiled again, standing up and leading them back to the field. As they approached, the sound of laughing and playing got louder. With each step, Virgil's stomach tightened. The only thing keeping him from a panic attack was Patton's confident, reassuring hand wrapped around his. As they exited the trees into the clearing, he saw kids in their own group, messing around and laughing. A few adults littered the area, helping the kids, just making sure no one killed each other. Patton excitedly pulled him towards 2 kids huddled over a bunny. One had glasses similar to Patton's and clutched a notebook to his chest. The other was squealing nonsense about how cute the rodent was, and held his fist to his face, squishing his tan cheeks a little. His bright green eyes sparkled in wonder. "Patton!" the over-dramatic one exclaimed and waved him over. "We found a bunny!" Patton gasped and started running over. Virgil followed suit. The other was busy scribbling in the small hard-covered notebook and hadn't paid any attention to their arrival. "Who are you?" the over-dramatic one asked when he noticed Virgil in their little group and brushed his milk chocolate hair from his eyes. Panic seized through Virgil's body. He'd butted right into their conversation without asking. Now they're going to hate him. What should he do? He's our new roomie, Patton answered, breaking his thoughts and unintentionally saving him from a mental breakdown. "Oh," the boy simply said and then smiled. "My name's Roman," he continued, and Virgil was once again pulled into an embrace. It was sideways and a bit awkward, which Roman seemed to notice, but it also didn't seem to bother him either. "So, what's your name?" Roman asked excitedly. "Virgil," Virgil managed, still calming his breathing. Logan looked up from his book and held out his hand hesitantly. "Salutations, Virgil," he started, when unevenly adjusting his glasses. "My name is Logan." Virgil could now make out his dark brown, almost black eyes that accompanied his black hair and pale complexion. He shook his hand, thankful for the reduced contact. It was obvious that, like himself, Logan wasn't much into that touchy-feely stuff, which was a relief that he wasn't the only one. It was also painfully obvious that the other two were complete opposites and were practically always touching someone. Roman huffed and Patton whined as the added commotion had scared little Bunny into sprinting away. Virgil couldn't help but smirk at their antics, while Logan just looked annoyed. "There goes my specimen," Virgil heard the boy mutter. Logan got up and closed his books, starting to walk to the lodge building that Virgil saw when he first arrived. The others followed him, so he tagged along also, not wanting to be left with anyone he didn't know. A few moments after he stood, the counselor started yelling for the kids to go to the mess hall for dinner. In the events of being there, Virgil hadn't noticed that the sun had started to set. He stopped to admire it and momentarily forgot everything around him. "Virg?" he heard from behind. He spun around to see Roman holding the door for him. He giggled and motioned for the smaller boy to enter the camp's version of the cafeteria. "What a gentleman!" Virgil laughed while walking past, playing into the part. Inside, they were serving chicken or steak, mashed potatoes, green beans, and chocolate chip cookies for dessert. While they ate, Patton and Roman explained the basics of how things worked there. Logan's nose stayed wedged in a booked majority of dinner, making comments ever so often based on what they were talking about. Roman wasn't a fan of the cookies, so Virgil split his with Patton. Even though they'd known each other for only a few hours, they were already on a nickname basis. Mainly with Roman, he was definitely the flirty type. They respected Virgil's space, realizing how too much physical contact affected him. He also was fine with them touching him, as long as it wasn't unexpected or sudden, as well as for too long. He was pretty used to Patton's hugs, though. Even Logan seemed powerless against them, but that's just Patton for you. They made their way back to the cabin and got ready for bed. Not that they were planning to go to sleep yet, but the counselor said it was lights out in 15 minutes. The boys went inside and grabbed their stuff. Virgil grabbed some black shorts and a t-shirt, the t-shirt having dark purple splotches covering it randomly. He turned to walk to the bathroom when he saw the others changing before him. Logan was already finished and had flopped onto his bed face first. Patton was sliding on some PJ pants, leaving on the same shirt, but what really surprised him, and that caught his attention, was when he turned, Roman was in the action of lifting his shirt to take it off. "Oh, frick," he thought. "Wait!" he yelled, and the others turned to him. "You all changed in here?" He struggled to keep the panic from his voice. "We're all guys," Patton said, confused. He glanced back at Roman and immediately regretted it. "But—" The words got in his throat, and his face darkened with blush. Virgil froze. He willed his body to move, to run, but he couldn't. Tears were starting to prick the corners of his eyes. This was it. This is when he loses his friends and will be alone for the rest of the summer. He swayed. "Whoa, Virg, are you okay?" Roman asked, now at his side. His arms were outstretched in case the latter needed support, yet not touching him in case that would make it worse. "You don't understand," Virgil whispered. They could tell he was about to cry based on his tone. Logan and Roman looked pleadingly to Patton, who got the message and slowly approached Virgil. He deliberately took his hand and rubbed his back, not expecting that Virgil would collapse onto him. "Should I go get a counselor?" Logan asked, obviously uncomfortable but still wanting to help. "No, that might overwhelm him further. Can you two just give us a minute?" The two exchanged a look before Roman dragged Logan out the door. Virgil was shaking uncontrollably. Tears rolled down his face. His breath came fast and labored. Patton sat on Virgil's bed and put him on his lap, ran his fingers through Virgil's black and purple hair, and soothingly shushed him. After a few moments, Virgil calmed, enough to speak at least. "Can you please tell me what that was about?" Pat asked softly. Virgil breathed shakily. He didn't want to say it. He prepared himself for yelling, to be thrown to the floor, and looked at with disgust by the people he was finally becoming comfortable with. "Pat," he started, I'm gay?" He held his breath, expecting to be pushed, slapped, scowled at. It never came. He looked up to see a small smile on Patton's face. "Silly boy." His smile widened. "We all are. That's why you were put in this cabin with us." Virgil froze in surprise for a moment. He couldn't help it. "What?" Patton sat Virgil up, still having him lean on his shoulder. "I'm sorry I didn't bring it up sooner, kiddo. I thought you knew." So this was the gay tent, or rather, cabin. "I'm surprised you hadn't noticed, even if you didn't know." Patton giggled. "Logan and I are actually currently dating. Roman was flirting with you the entire day. I bet $20 he's got a crush on you." "But he flirts with everyone," Virgil retorted. "Yeah," Pat confirmed, "but not as much as I've seen with you today." Virgil blushed at those words, and now realized, yes, he was an idiot. The signs were everywhere. A knock sounded on the door. "Can we come in?" It was Roman. "The counselors are going to come check on us soon. I don't want to get in trouble." "Yeah," Pat responded. Virgil got off of Patton, thankful for the support, but thinking that was enough contact for now. They entered and looked concerned at Virgil. Patton was smiling. "What's the problem?" Logan asked, respecting Virgil's space and kept his distance. Roman, on the other hand, looked as if he was having a hard time not throwing himself at the darker presence. Virgil sighed and raised his hands weakly, giving Roman permission to hug him gently. "Yeah, what's up?" he added as soon as Virgil was safe in his arms. "My dark, strange son here," Virgil asked. Virgil huffed playfully at the nickname, "is also gay." Virgil felt Roman's arms tighten around him. His face heated up as he remembered Patton's words. Pat was a master at reading people and emotions, and he had no doubt that Pat was correct. Roman let go, hesitantly, after a few moments, not wanting to cause another panic attack. It pained him to let Virgil be exposed back into the world, but Roman couldn't hold on to him forever. "Okay, lights out." A man, one that Virgil had never seen before, entered the cabin. Hello," he said, reaching his hand out to Virgil. "My name is Joan. They, them. You must be the new kid. Nice to meet you." Virgil shook their hand, and quickly retreated his hands back into his pockets. He'd done enough touching for one day. "If it makes you feel more comfortable," Pat said once Joan left, "we can take turns in the bathroom." He nodded. "Thanks." After his own turn in the bathroom, after Patton, he saw that Roman was dressed. He must have changed while Virgil was. Exhausted, Virgil fell asleep immediately. It had been a very long day.